Okay, now that we talked about writing the introduction, it's time to talk about writing the first body paragraph and then the second body paragraph. And after that, obviously, we'll talk about writing the conclusion. So the first body paragraph is going to have three main parts to it. It's going to have a one sentence intro, to be found right here. It's going to have a three-sentence background, and it's going to have a two sentences that are connecting to the thesis, or how we feel about the prompt. Now, if you remember that the prompt that we had, it was, does telling lies make people happier than telling the truth? First body paragraph, or sentence intro, is going to be the following. The events that arose from Myrtle cheating on Wilson with Tom indicate that in the long run, lies only make people miserable. So in other words, the first sentence, it's going to be one sentence, it's just going to introduce how your first example ties in with your prompt. Then we're going to give it a background. Now, I recommend that you do three sentences, but ironically, I didn't do three sentences here myself. You should probably not do more than five sentences when giving the background to your first example. The background that I wrote is found right here. In the novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Myrtle, a middle-class woman, cheats on her husband with Tom, who is a wealthy man. Her husband, Wilson, comes dangerously close to discovering that Myrtle is cheating on him. Finally, Myrtle's lies reveal themselves when Daisy kills her by running her over and Wilson assumes that Gatsby killed his wife. In the end, Wilson kills Gatsby and himself. So this background, which is actually four sentences, essentially describes why this is a good example. Okay? And if you've read the book, you'll realize that this, what I wrote right here, these four sentences right here, are not really far off from the actual book. So it's sort of like a mini summary, but really focused on the example that we want to support. Then after that, after our supporting background, we're going to have two sentences that will be connecting to the thesis. And this right here is really the most important part. If your teacher ever tells you how to write an essay, or what makes a good essay, it's always connecting back to that thesis. So our two sentence connection to the thesis, what I wrote right here, is the following. What the novel tells us is that lies can be hidden in the short term, but they always reveal themselves in the long run. These lies over time accumulate to produce a lot of misery for the parties involved. Thus, telling a lie ultimately makes people more miserable than telling the truth. Now here's a really important and significant tip that I can give you. Whenever connecting your example to your thesis, I really recommend that you use a word like thus or therefore, because you want to make it as easy as possible for the grader to give you a good score. So by you writing the word thus or therefore, you're really simplifying their job. You're telling them exactly how it is. You're basically just giving it to them. You're not making them wonder about what it could be. And if they don't have to think a lot, then chances are they'll probably give you a good score because your answer is so obvious. So if you didn't understand that, just listen to what I said again. And also in the video, you can see the body paragraph, the first body paragraph that I wrote. So you can write this down, copy it, do whatever you want to it. Then after that, we're going to have a second body paragraph because we have two examples and this whole thing needs to be 4 paragraphs. For the second body paragraph, we're going to need a one-sentence transition. We can't just introduce the second body paragraph outright in colon. That's not good writing style. The one-sentence transition that I have here is the following. Unlike Myrtle's lies, which cause misery to her and other people, Ferdows's honesty with herself actually brings her happiness and illustrates that the truth and not lies is what makes people happier. So if you've read Woman at Point Zero, you'll know a lot about Firdaus and the battles that she has with herself. So I'm just introducing this second example, and I'm not just going into the detail. Okay, this one sentence transition is important because you want to connect it smoothly. Okay, this whole thing has to be sort of like a fabric that just comes together. After that, we're going to need a 3-sentence background, 3 to 4, no more than 5, because this is timed, obviously. So you're going to need a 3-sentence background that supports your second example and your transition appropriately. So what I have right here is the following. Firdaus was born to a poor family in rural Egypt and was abused her entire life. For some time, she pursues a life of prostitution and rejects her true nature, which is a nature of disdain towards other people. Firdaus does not like other people, especially men. After lying to herself for many years and trying to change her identity by ignoring her past, Firdaus finally accepts that her past has made her a dangerous woman, readily able to kill. So this is our supporting the second example. And finally, the most important part tells the reader why this matters. So this is our two-sentence link to the thesis. I'm going to read it. It's right here. Lying to herself only makes Firdaus miserable as she goes from prostitute to office worker and to prostitute again. Finally, after accepting her past and her identity by no longer lying to herself, Firdaus feels freer than ever before and at peace, thus demonstrating that telling the truth always brings more happiness than lying, especially when you are lying to yourself. Now, if you notice right here, this is a quote, and if you know anything about quotes, you'll know that quotes come directly from a book. Now, I have to be honest with you guys. This, as far as I know, is not in the book. Okay? And this is what makes the SAT essays so different than other essays. If you write an essay in class, your teacher has read the book, and she will most likely verify your quote. Okay? But not in the SAT essay. They don't have enough time to verify the sources of 1 million students. So you can get away with a lot of things in here, okay? You can attribute quotes that don't really exist, and you're not going to get punished for that because they have no way to verify it. It would take way too much time to see if everyone that uses a quote is actually using it correctly or if the quote exists at all. Now, I know that may seem a bit strange because people aren't used to thinking like that, but the benefits of doing this are tremendous, at least doing this for the SAT. I'm not recommending that you do this in class. If you do this for the SAT essay, you save yourself a lot of time, and you increase the likelihood that you'll be more impressive. Because quotes, no matter what you're writing, quotes are deemed more impressive. So you have a quote right here that, as far as I know, doesn't really exist in the book, although it's not totally, absolutely crazy. Firdaus does kind of feel free and at peace when she accepts who she is. However, it's not exactly written this way in the book, but this can save you time and it can impress the reader, therefore increasing the likelihood that you'll get a good grade. So anyway, if you didn't watch the introduction video, you should watch the introduction video, and this video right here was just the first body paragraph and the second body paragraph, and I recommend that you pay special attention to these dark headings right here, because what I wrote, right below is obviously specific to the prompt that I came up with, but these headings right here, they're going to help you, they're going to give you a framework for how you should write your essay, no matter what prompt you get. So watch the video again if you didn't understand it. Read what I've wrote, pay attention to the dark headings right here, and